Right, in this video we're going to go for the troubles and woes of trying to unseize a brake caliper, the rear brake caliper, the cbr600. I'll show you all everything I went through to try and get this achieved, but at the end of the video you'll find a nice easy solution. Finally cracked it in the end, so watch this, see my battles, and then see how I resolved it. Alright everyone, just thought I'd get back in touch with this and trying to get this back brake unseized. Now obviously that piston on the right is all good, she's moving freely, not really freely, but I can get it out. Now the one on the left, it won't move at all. I've soaked it in brake cleaner, put compressed air on it, it's just not going to move. So I'm thinking the only other option I've really got is to put it back on the bike and use the hydraulics to push it out. So that's what we're going to do if the next plan doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is boil the kettle, and I'm going to make a cup of tea. No, I'm not. I'm going to heat the caliper up with the boiling water and just see if that gives us any movement on it. I have tried it before, it didn't really work, but as I say, I've soaked it in brake cleaner now. So rather than making a mess with brake fluid, I'm just going to give it a go one more time. You'd be surprised how hot it gets with boiling water. You can't really hold it once you've tipped boiling water on it. It heats up quick. So the kettle's just boiling now. Let's give it a go and see what we can do. Right, so plan is boiling water. Just tip it on slowly rather than dump the whole lot in one go. Plenty of steam on there. Obviously concentrate it on the side. I'm trying to run free. Bit steamy. Steam. Then we get that on there. This will be red, well, not red obviously, but warms the caliper up to a fair degree, as I say. You'll struggle to hold it, and then you'll blast it through the compressed air again. And if that don't work, we've got to put it back on the bike. Right, let's just see what we can achieve here. Right, there it is, pretty damn hot. So obviously keep this wood in so as not to let the other piston pop out and then obviously lose the seal, so we can't use the air. Get our little sprayer, whack him in there, see if I can turn it round. I'm holding it with a cloth because it's pretty damn hot. Yeah, it's just not even moving. As you can see, she's pretty damn solidly seized. So I'll get it back on the old bike, bleed it out, and just see if the hydraulic fluid will push it out. I think it will. But yeah, that's the problem I'm having at the minute. Right, back up in the shed then. First thing to do before we go any further is crack the bleed nipple, because it's just easier off the bike. And if you can't get that undone, I suppose the caliper's scrap anyway, so we'll give that a crack. Well, I've already given it a crack. It is loose. That's tighten. That's loose, look. So at least we can bleed it. Well, really I should have done this before I took it off, but it's a pain in the ass trying to get the pads out because I've got those pins which go all the way through the pads and lock them in. So I suppose now I've got a chance. So I'm going to take the lid off the reservoir, top that up, connect the brake hose back to this, bleed it out, and then see if we can force that piston out with the brake lever or the brake pedal. Obviously this is the rear, so we'll use that. Could use the front, but I don't think it makes that much difference. So let's try that next, get it connected up. Right, so we might have a problem here as well, because lo and behold, these are rounded off. I can't really get them out. Not the biggest worry in the world. I've just got to change this brake reservoir. I don't think there's going to be enough fluid in there to do what we want to do today, so that could have halted play. But we'll try and bleed it out. Just see if we can get that piston moving. Always something, isn't there, with these bloody bikes. God. I'm sure it's not the most expensive part in the world, but whoever had it before, if they'd have just used the right screwdriver, we wouldn't have an issue. Now we've got a big one. Lovely. The joys. Right, so the woes continue. After an hour of bleeding the front brakes, I didn't really want to then decide to undo it all, put the rear brake caliper on, try and bleed that in the hope that the hydraulic would push the pistons out. So I used my noggin. Now, when you're restoring a bike which isn't really worth anything in value, let's be honest, the cbr600 F1 isn't worth much. Didn't really want to spend a lot of money fixing the solution, but in the end, this is the solution, I hope. Went on eBay and brought another caliper, 10 quid, so I copped out a bit, but let's get it on the compressed air again. Hopefully these pistons will move. I can rebuild this one, and then we get back to square one for the cost of a tenner. So as I say, these old bikes, not really worth the money to plough hundreds of pounds in, but for a tenner, I thought it's worth a go. Get the back brake working, back brake working, and then we might be able to get somewhere. So let's try and push these ones out, rebuild it, fit it on the bike, and then hopefully we can just gloss over this little catastrophe. Goes into the tub of doom. Clean it up, get rid of all that crap off it. Give it a wipe down. And pins were stuck in, so I've got to hammer them down. Get some pliers now, try and pull them out. Right, these bloody things ain't moving in compressed air either. Back to square one. But I'm going to do the kettle trick and I'll show you, see if that works. So let's get this caliper warmed up a bit and see if we can pop them out. Right, so I'm in the same bloody boat as the last one. Got one out. The same one still seized, so not the best idea. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a slot in that. So I've got a spare piston at home, haven't I? So I'm going to cut a slot in that, hit it with a screwdriver and hammer, and just, even if I try and rotate it, just free it up. I've got nothing else to lose now, have I? So that's the next step. Right, this thing is being a nightmare. So what I've done, 17mm, grinded it into a taper. I'm going to hammer that into the piston and then give it a few turns with the socket, look. And I'm hoping that will then start to loosen up the seal, and then we can blow it out with the air. So I've got a spare piston, so I've got nothing to lose. So taper a socket, hammer it in, give it a few rotations, and then I'll probably do the hot kettle trick again, expand the caliper, see if we can get this little bastard out. It's a bit blurry. That's all right. Right then, now I'm going to pull and twist. As you can see, it's coming out, look. There we go, we're winning again. Right, there we go, it's out. There she is. Obviously we've got a spare one in the other caliper, so we shall use that one. Put it back in there. That one's already loose. There you go, a new tool, a piston puller.